Hello, my name is Greg Kiefer. I'm actually a former president and CEO of Kiefer Consulting, and had an opportunity to present to the Management Information Systems Group or Association at Sac State over the last, I don't know, 15 years or so. Yesterday, we gave this presentation. I want to just run through the presentation with you real quick, and then we'll actually do kind of a workshop on examining the resume that we're going to be working with. One of the students actually in the class volunteered their resume. So just real quick on me. My name, again, I've been working in the tech industry for about 50 years. When I was in college, I actually didn't know what I wanted to do, explored a lot of different subjects. Worked for large and small companies, primarily as a project manager, teacher, a software engineer. Traveled around the world, to talk about technology and software design patterns, also traveled around the world for vacation. So started my own company when I was 26. I'm now 63. Ran the company for 35 years, really enjoyed working with some really talented people and also some phenomenal customers. I sold the business in 2023, 2 years ago, and I'm still actually enjoying going back to school to get some additional degrees in music and Spanish and some fitness stuff as well. And I love to debate stuff with people. If you ever have a topic you want to debate, just send me a message and would love to connect with you. What we're going to do is in this outline, I'm just going to run through this again pretty quick. We're going to do some storytelling, which I think is really important to the interview process. I'm going to write a 1-minute introduction based on your resume, improving your resume in Copilot, optimizing your LinkedIn profile, comparing your LinkedIn profile to your resume. There's no connectivity between LinkedIn and ChatGPT or Copilot right now. Maybe in ChatGPT, but I'm using Copilot. But there's ways to get the information into the Copilot so you can actually examine it and compare it to your resume. We're going to map your resume to a job. We're going to look at create a cover letter, and then do your exit interview, which is critical for maintaining that connectivity to the audience that you're talking to, which happens to be an employer. So effective storytelling, emotional connection, that's critical to be able to do that. You need to make they make you feel something emotional, some connection to your story. You need to get excited. It may be a sad story that you want to tell, but you really want to tap into those emotional connections you have with people and get your audience in your interviewing process to connect with them. And even if you do storytelling after you get a job as well. A strong sense of pacing. When you're telling a story, it's good to pause. And when you pause, people think and they stay connected and they stay engaged in the conversation. It also gives you a chance to kind of think about what you're going to say next. Engaging delivery. When you know, whether you're writing something or speaking, vivid descriptions, be animated, really describe it so people can envision it, so it sticks in their head for a while, and also you stay connected with them as well. Make it authentic. Make sure you tell a story from the heart. Don't make something up unless you're doing a storytelling class, but also tell it from your heart and soul so that people can actually really connect with you and understand your story and what it means to you. And always add a surprise, add some humor. You want to make sure you keep re-engaging them throughout the storytelling process. There is a thing in Sacramento called capitalstorytelling.com. It's a really innovative, kind of fun group to hang out with and tell stories and learn the process of storytelling. So in this case, let's jump to this right away. A great story always starts with a great introduction. So you want to capture the audience, you want to have their attention, especially in an interview. And a lot of this MISA presentation was a discussion around interviewing and telling your story so you could actually get a job. A story might say, "I never thought a simple task would change the entire trajectory of my career or my life." It all started with a single conversation that I almost didn't have. I might have been afraid to ask someone a question, especially like in a job interview or a career fair, or someone actually they might be working with. You might be afraid to ask the question, but I encourage you to always go ask questions. So another one, we did a working session in this MISA group. It was really fun. We had 4 students actually present their stories. They used AI to help craft the story. They delivered a really good pitches. We worked on some of the pitches as well to make sure it was authentic and make sure it actually told their story that they wanted to convey to the audience. They did a really good job. So Kevin Bali volunteered his resume. We're going to go through that in another session. I'm going to do 2 more sessions, one on the resume Copilot integration, and then also one on optimizing your LinkedIn profile. What we want to do is actually take a load Copilot. If you haven't used that, it's very similar to ChatGPT. It sits on top of ChatGPT. We're going to go through all these different prompts. We're not going to go through them now. We'll go through them in another session. But basically, you have a lot of prompts. You're looking for jobs. It can connect to Indeed. It's an open platform, so they can actually connect to it. It'll search for jobs based on your resume. And that kind of happens with LinkedIn Recruiting and ZipRecruiter and a bunch of those other tools. They actually go the opposite direction. They have a job posting and they look for candidates. So one of the things you want to do is actually work on your LinkedIn profile so you can work on the SEO, search engine optimization around your resume. So here's some more questions we're going to ask. We'll go through these in the next session. This is just session 1. How can I enhance my resume for each job that I'm posting or that I'm looking for? Craft a 1-minute introduction for each position that I can use in an interview. So you can actually have AI help tailor your introductions to basically each job position that you have an interest in. Again, create an exit interview stuff. What trends in the industry should I consider investing further for the future employment opportunities based on my resume? You can also ask it, I really like the 4th question here, is based on my resume, what do I need to do over the next 5 years to become an expert in data analytics and AI? Give me a year-by-year breakdown. You can also ask what you have in common with people. So if you're doing an interview, you're working with a company, you're interviewing with a company, you might actually consider looking at some of the profiles and comparing yourself and your resume and your LinkedIn profile to those other people you might be interviewing with or a company might be researching. Here's some other ones we added kind of in class based on my resume and core values, what California, because there's 2 in California in this class, base companies would be a good fit for me, and which ones are most likely to hire a college graduate. AI can look at some of those. We didn't go as far to say which ones currently have positions open in Indeed or some of the other job placement, like Dice and some of the other job placement tools, but we were just looking at Indeed in this one. So we might actually do that in the next session. Let me add that later. If you want to optimize your LinkedIn profile, make sure you clearly articulate your interests and skills. Look at all the different aspects of LinkedIn. Look at all the different components of LinkedIn. There's a ton of different features you can turn on that are not turned on by default. You just go into settings on your profile and start looking and exploring those. We're going to go through this pretty quickly. Here's Kevin Bolly's LinkedIn profile. And we'll go through that in the next session as well. So we're going to look at both his resume and look at his LinkedIn profile to try to optimize those for both SEO and actually getting his message across to his potential employers and his audience. I'm not going to read all these, but basically you can optimize your profile, the picture, the headline, the summary, the experience. One thing people forget about a lot is recommendations and endorsements. Make sure you actually do that. It makes a huge difference, not only the search engine aspect of it, but also when people are just looking at your profile, when they're trying to become acquainted with who you are. Recommendations are critical aspect of building credibility around who you are. And also you can customize your URL too, so you want to make it more interesting versus some string of text and numbers. So engage your audience, connect with people of like-minded or people that you're interested in, or follow people that you're interested in, repost their content. Make sure when you repost it, you actually repost it with comments. It's going to help you with SEO, but you also get a lot more, you're a lot more relevant when you're reposting versus just simply reposting content from someone else. It's a lot better to do it that way. And we'll do some SEO stuff in the 3rd session when I get through that as well. And we're going to do regular look at I encourage you to regularly update your profile and your skills and certifications. Make sure that your profile is visible. I think they're all by default visible. Mine's visible. I'm not sure how that works to make it not visible. I'm not sure why you would do that. Some more other things here is we'll skip this part because we're actually going to do this in the session. And then we'll look at Kevin's. When you're doing a job day or a career fair, you might want to use this as a checklist. Really simple concepts. Get a business card, simple business card. Don't bring your resume. Don't bring a bunch of other stuff. They're not gonna keep it anyway. They're probably gonna throw it away on the way out the door. But create a business card with your name on it, maybe your email address, your phone number, and then your QR code for LinkedIn. Super simple. And make sure while you're there, you connect with those people using that QR code while you're actually talking to them. Say, hey, please scan my QR code. I want to connect with you before I leave the discussion and move on to the next potential employer. Ask a lot of questions about their organization, corporate culture. It's always important to me, that corporate culture, and what's it like to work there and the type of people and are they supportive? Do they share some of the same values? what's a day in the life look like if the person you're doing an interview at the job fair, and ask them to tell about someone that they follow in their organization, someone they admire in their organization. Who is that person? What kind of characteristics do they have, and why do they follow them? Talk to companies that are not currently hiring for the position that you have experience in. I had a chat with a gentleman about his experience in computer science, and about 50 employers were there, but only 3 advertised for a computer science position. In this case, I said, go ahead and talk to everyone because everyone needs you. And he ended up getting a couple of interviews as a result of that. So we're not going to do this. This is also the working session. So this is the end of the presentation. So I encourage you to scan my QR code here, connect with me, ask me questions. Feel free to reach out anytime. Here's my contact information. I am retired, so I have more time. If you do reach out, I'm happy to share my experiences with you and also how I might be able to help you with your career.